Nice. So if you've watched my previous videos, I took this car to drift day and I was having overheating issues. Free driving, it's fine. Just when you start really leaning on the car, it starts overheating. Changed the thermostat, did some street driving. Seems to be a little bit better, but another thing I want to try, since we don't have any drift days coming up to be able to test the car, I'm going to pressure test the coolant system using a pressure tester. So I'm going to share with you guys how I'm going to do it on this 3 Series BMW E36 with a 2.5 turbo swap. So you can get this at any local automotive store that sells automotive parts, whatever. So I'm going to show you guys the kit. So here's the kit. It comes with pump, manual pump. And it comes with all the adapters for your specific vehicle. And it will tell you right here which vehicle yours uses which adapter for the radiator cap. And you just go through, you look at what your cars make, and then it'll tell you what color or number it is. And yeah, pretty simple. You can rent it. You do have to pay for it. It's like $250, but you get your money back when you return it. So yeah, so I don't think we have any coolant leaks. Everything's been fine. Mainly why I want to do this is to see if the head gasket is got an issue or it's leaking, or we're getting pressure, because it's a turbo car. If we're getting pressure into the cooling system when it's getting really, beat on. So I don't think there's any leaks, so I'm not using this for a leak test. A lot of people use this. It's nice to be able to see like leaks under pressure that you don't see when you just fill the system. But I'm 90% sure we don't have any leaks. I'm merely doing this to pressurize the system to see if there is leakage from the head gasket. So I'm going to try this. They recommend you do it with the engine cool, so I'm going to do it with the engine cool, and I'm going to actually bring it up to operating temp and then do this again just in case when things are hot. That's when the head gasket starts leaking. So you're not supposed to open the radiator cap once the engine's warm. So I'm going to warm it up once I do that, and then let it cool off a little bit so there's no pressure in the system, and then I will do it. And that way the thermostat's open and pressure can go, a lot more pressure can go into the head and everything like that. So even when it's cold, there is a bypass, so pressure should be able to go, but I want to try it both ways just to see when the engine is up to operating temp, things are expanding and the head gasket's leaking. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Told me that it's the orange one. Gonna make sure it's nice and tight, and then yeah, it's got a quick release here. Just snap it on. Pretty simple. You got your gauge right here. Most systems, you gotta read what's on your radiator cap. A lot of them are like 15 to 20. This one didn't say on it, so I'm just gonna do 20. I don't want to go beyond that because you're gonna start, putting way too much pressure into the cooling system. The cooling system never really has that much pressure unless you have, overheating issues, or you have head gasket issues and combustion gases are getting into the cooling system. So coolant looks fine, oil looks fine. I'm just doing this just to kind of get a peace of mind that there's no leaking into the, through the engine, the head gasket. The head gasket is not leaking anything. So start pumping. You can actually feel the hose get hot. Squeeze the hose, you can see it go up and down. So we've got 15 pounds. 20. So you got 20 pounds and it's holding. I'm going to let it sit there with 20 pounds and see if it holds it for a while. I'm going to scab off. Here, try to listen for any missing noises. Seems to be working. I'm going to go up to the actual 20. It kind of came down. Okay. Leaks. Nothing is dripping underneath. Like I said, I know we don't have any leaks in the system, so I've already kind of went through everything, so there shouldn't be a reason for it to leak. Okay, I'm gonna wait, let it sit at 20 pounds for a while and see what happens. Alright, so I've let it sit there pressurized for about 5 minutes. It came down just a little bit, maybe things, expanded with hoses and things like that. It's not even a full degree that it went down, so yeah, I would say that's good, cold, so you don't want to just remove this. You can remove the quick release, but then the system's still going to be pressurized, so there's a little button here that you want to press to release the pressure. Alrighty. Take the quick release off. Take the adapter off. So I'm going to pull this thing outside, let it get to operating time, bring it back in, make sure there's no pressure in the system, take the cap off, and do the same thing when it's warm, just to confirm nothing is leaking when the engine's hot. So I let it sit outside for a while, get it up to operating temp. It's at 190. The engine should be a lot hotter than that. I think the temp sensor might be in here or here. I'm still new to the BMW world, so I don't know exactly where it is, but the thermostat should be warm. Thermostat housing is pretty warm. It's still, the upper hose is warm, the lower hose is still cold, so I don't know. This is the issue that I've been battling with this car. It just doesn't seem to be circulating correctly. The water pump works fine because when you rev it, you can feel the pressure build up in the hoses and it's moving through. I changed the thermostat, still nothing, so I'm going to pressurize it now and see if we get any leakage. Don't do this when the engine's warm, unless you really need to and you have an issue. I'm really just doing this to make sure when the engine's warm, head gasket's fine. Don't do it if you can't release the pressure when the engine's hot, because you're going to get coolant all over you, so I just recommend you don't do it at all. I'm able to release the pressure through the bleeder and all that, so I was able to do it very carefully. Alright, so I let it sit there for a while. Did the same thing, it only dropped a tiny bit, no leaks, so you can't be having air coming in from a leak or anything. I would say, system under pressure is pretty good. When it drops, that way it could be just the hoses expanding, things like that. So that's fine. You're just looking for like a quick drop, so yeah. I would say the head gasket is most likely okay. This thing has a cut ring head gasket, so With the power and the boost that it's pushing, it's very conservative, so shouldn't be really going through a cut ring head gasket. I'm still confused as to why the upper hose gets hot and the bottom doesn't. The radiator is not clogged, it's got a brand new thermostat in it, and the water pump works. So my next thing with this is I'm going to completely pull out the thermostat and see if that gets the whole system hot, the upper and the lower, and then try a drift day without a thermostat. And then if that seems to work, then I might just run it that way, or just put a really low, like a 160 Fahrenheit thermostat in it. So that's kind of the next steps for this. I don't think there's any drift days coming up for a while, so we'll just do other projects on this car to prep it, and just remove the thermostat before a drift day, and make sure this thing doesn't overheat anymore. If it still overheats with the no thermostat, I'm gonna do the water pump, and then if that is still if it's still overheating after no thermostat and a brand new water pump, then I have no choice but to think that it is a head gasket for sure. So I'm leaving the head gasket option until the end, because I don't see any obvious problems. So hope this was helpful for you guys if you wanted to pressure test your system. Again, don't do it when it's hot, and you're able to depressurize the system while the engine's warm, which I'm able to do on this car. So yeah, I hope it was helpful for you guys. Please consider subscribing, sharing this with somebody that you think needs it. Definitely consider subscribing. Got a lot of cool content coming up, a lot of exciting stuff, a lot of cool builds. I'm gonna reveal a really cool build soon in the next few days here, and a lot of content on the Pro car, a lot of driving content, and a lot of setup content. So stay subscribed if that's what you're into. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.